So it should be probably about 15 minutes. I think we decided that we're going to do the question and answers at the end. So as Melissa said, you can put them in the chat as we go, and Melissa will go through them. Again, welcome. This Ontario Student Assistance Program provides financial assistance to students to help them attend college or university. OSAP is based on your financial need. With one application, let me just get over there, sorry.
Unmuting. Was muted already.
What's that?
Should be muted. Should be.
Can you hear me?
I think he can. So John, I just muted you just for during the session, but I will, you can unmute at the end if you'd like. Awesome. Go ahead, Tina.
Okay. So with one application, you could be considered for non-repayable grants as well as OSAP loans. The grants is money that you won't have to pay back, and the loans is money that you will have to repay. Loans are interest and payment free while you're a full-time student. Am I eligible for OSAP? To be eligible for OSAP, you must be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or protected person, an Ontario resident, currently attending or entering an OSAP approved program and school, and currently enrolled in or entering a certificate, degree, or diploma program. You must meet all four of the criteria. How is OSAP determined? First, they look at the allowable educational costs. So that would include your tuition and compulsory fees, books and supplies, equipment, computer costs, personal living expenses, childcare, and travel. And then minus what the expected financial contribution would be. So that would be your student contribution, student parental or spousal income, and student and spousal assets. So and that would be where they would calculate the financial need for students. This here is like an example to show you what, so your educational cost would be $15,000 and the financial contribution would be $3,600. So that would show a financial need of $11,400 the student would require. How much money could I get from OSAP? So each student that applies is a different situation. This is a little chart that shows you if you're enrolled full-time at a public college, university in Ontario. For a single student with no dependents, it's $405 a week. Student that's married, common law, sole support would be $695. If you're in a private school for post-secondary in Ontario, it's $405. And then it's basically $405 for the public college university in a Canadian province as well, in another Canadian province, sorry. Yeah, and so you could also receive additional grant funding based on your situation. To get an estimate, it's quick, it's easy. You go onto the Ontario OSAP website.
Oh, that's the one that's speaking. Okay.
You answer a few short questions and see what you would be entitled to. So this is what the estimator would look like once you input your information. So it would show you what grants that you would receive and then what loans that you would receive and the total amount. And then just below that, you can see where it says the loan paying it back. You can also find out what the repayment calculator would be on what you're receiving. This is new to OSAP, is the OSAP information module. If you're a full-time student making your first OSAP application for the 22-23 school year, you'll need to complete the short information session presented just before you start your application. The session will help you understand how OSAP works, your roles and responsibilities if you become an OSAP recipient, and basic financial information to support you through your post-secondary education. For example, creating a budget, understanding what credit and debit is. How the module works, it contains short self-study sessions with information you must read before you start your OSAP application. At the end of each session or section, you will be asked to answer a question about what you've just read. Correct answers will let you move to the next section of the module. When you've finished the information module, your OSAP application will open. You can log in and out of the module at any time and your progress will be saved. If you choose to complete the module in one sitting, it will be approximately 15 minutes. So only full-time students making their OSAP application for the first time will need to complete this module. If you're going back for a second year, or if you've already done an OSAP application, you're not required to complete the module again. How and when do I apply? So the OSAP applications for the 22-23 academic year are available now. You would go to the OSAP website to register, and then you would follow the steps on how to apply. So this part here will show you how to apply. You register online. You will need your SIN number and create your OSAP account. I'm just going to see if the next one, no. So you will need to make sure you have a pen and paper because you will get your OSAP access number. That is important to keep that somewhere safe, and a password. If you misplace the OAN number or you forget your password, you can go into any financial aid office and they can reset it for you. You'll also need information on your school and your program, your parents' or spouse's SIN, tax information. So when you fill out your OSAP application, you're going to be doing the 2021 tax information you will need for your parents or spouse. If you're not sure which school you're going to, you can submit an application for each school you're applying to. And then you submit your application, and there will be documents that it will tell you to submit, but that will be later on in the presentation. Am I considered an independent or dependent student? The definition of a dependent student is if you're not married or living in a common law relationship, if you're not separated, or if you're not separated, divorced, or widowed, you're not a sole support parent, you've been out of high school for less than 6 years before you start post-secondary school, you haven't worked full-time in at least 24 months in a row. So I think most of us would be a dependent student. Definition of an independent student: if you have been out of high school for more than 6 years, you've worked full-time for at least 24 months in a row, both your parents are deceased, you've currently in the care of the Crown just prior to 18, you're currently receiving a continued care and support from a youth program allowance from your Children's Aid Society, you're not currently married or in a common law relationship, or you don't have any dependent children. So students are assessed separately for the federal and the provincial components of OSAP. Four-year role for determining an independent status will apply to the federal component of an assessment. The 6-year rule will apply to the provincial component of the OSAP assessment. Students who are out of school for 4 years and do not wish to provide their parental information may choose to be assessed for federal funding only. Do you get all your OSAP funding at once? This is important. No. Your funding is dispersed in 2 installments, regardless if you're in a 2-year or 3-year semester program. Your first installment will be 60% of your total funding, and the second installment for the remaining 40% will be at the beginning of your second semester. How should you budget your funding? We recommend, if you're in a 2-semester program, to make a payment towards your winter tuition from your fall funding. If you're in a 3-semester program, pay your winter tuition in full from your fall funding. If you don't, OSAP will remit both your winter and spring tuition out of your winter funding, leaving you with very little money for your winter semester and then come your spring semester. Can I receive the grants that I'm approved for and not the loans? Yes. So students have the option of selecting grant funding only. They do not have to take the loan. So if you're assessed for both grants and loans and you don't want that loan, you can decline it. And if, say, in your winter semester, you decide that you do need the loan, you can opt back in and receive that. When do I need to repay my OSAP loan? It's 6 months after you graduate or leave for more than 6 months, or you're no longer a full-time student. While attending post-secondary full-time, you won't need to make any loan payments. After you leave school, you do have a 6-month non-repayment period. During this period, you are not required to make any payments. However, you still can if you choose to make that. I know one of the questions that Melissa had was, when does interest start? It will start when you finish school or you leave, you're no longer a full-time student. It will start at the next day of when you left the program. What if I have trouble or need help making student loan payments? If you're having trouble finding employment or find it difficult to repay your student loan because of financial hardship, there is help. You can revise your terms. You can make interest-only payments, or you can do a repayment assistant plan. These measures can help you either defer or reduce your monthly payment. What are you responsible for? Repaying your loan and associated interest according to the terms of your loan agreement. Notifying National Student Loan Service Center if you change your address, your name, or your phone number. And to notify your OSAP office if you change your course load, drop to part-time status, if you switch your program or you withdraw from studies. It's important to notify them of those changes. If you haven't received all your funding, what should you do? You can log into your National Student Loan Service Center account, check the status of your loan. On there, it will tell you if it has been confirmed by the school, and or you can contact them to see if there is a problem. Their number is located on this slide, but if you call any financial aid office or look up the website, they would be able to tell you. How can the financial aid office help? We can help with appeals, OSAP, bursaries, or family breakdowns. With appeals, students can, if they travel for placements or if they're traveling a distance to school, if they're living at home, there is a review that can be done to see if we can generate any more funding for students. Changes and updates to your OSAP account. We can make those changes. Once you submit the application, we will be the ones that need to do the change for you. Emergency financial assistance. We do have, it's a hardship bursary for students that are in financial need. It's given once per academic year, and students would fill out an application through their slc.me account, and we would review that to see if there is a financial need for the student. Budgeting, we can help with budgeting techniques, practical, like just to sit down with the student to see if how they're spending their money, which way would be better, kind of. I forgot to mention the bursaries. So there is in-school bursaries with St. Lawrence College and scholarships. You would visit that on your slc.me. We encourage everybody to apply with them. The fall round, those open July 18th to September 18th. So you just need to fill out the one application, and it would go into what you would be eligible for. In the past, you would have to go through the actual bursaries and apply to which one that would fit what you had, like for the Legent one, or see. I think that touched base on that. Where else can I look for money? Oh, sorry, I guess I kind of jumped the gun on that one. So that would be your scholarships and bursaries. Apply for employment on campus or off campus. We do have student bursary jobs on campus. So there'd be the Kingston, Brockville, and Cornwall campus that students, we encourage them to apply. It's good because we can work around the student schedule easier than some places outside of the college. And that to look for those links, you would go to St. Lawrence College, and under the fees tab, that's where you would apply for the scholarships and bursaries. And who to contact. So there's information for the Kingston campus, the Brockville campus, and the Cornwall campus. That's their email address for each campus, and you can just email them and they would be able to give you any information regarding the program, anything with OSAP. So the information is easy to access. You go to ontario.ca/OSAP. You can learn about OSAP, get an estimate, how to apply, steps after you apply, repaying your loan, and checking your OSAP status. And I think that is it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that's a lot of information for everyone to take in at once, but know that we have recorded this session, and we will send that out to attendees, but then also school sites for them to be able to share with their students as well. I'm going to stop the recording now, though, so that we can ask some more personal questions.